my friends, I'm Professor Hans von Puppet. I'm a good friend of KooBits. In this video, I'm going to show you an example to solve a math problem. The method used can be applied to other similar math questions. All right, let's get started.
Miko has 265 Singapore and Malaysia stamps altogether. 92 stamps are Malaysia stamps. How many more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps does Miko have? Let's break down the question and understand it, shall we? Miko has 265 Singapore and Malaysia stamps altogether. Do we know how many stamps are from Singapore? No, we do not. However, we do know that 92 stamps are Malaysia stamps. How many more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps does Miko have? Do you know what the question is asking? What is how many more? Let's use an example. There are 92 Malaysia stamps, right? If there are 92 Singapore stamps as well, we say there are equal numbers of Singapore and Malaysia stamps. What if there are 100 Singapore stamps? Are there an equal number of Singapore stamps and Malaysia stamps? Not really. Which stamp has more? Let's compare the number of Singapore stamps and the number of Malaysia stamps. Which number is bigger? Yes, there are more Singapore stamps. How many more? Look closely at the difference. The difference is 8. Thus, there are 8 more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps. Do you get it? Great. Okay, now back to this question. Do we know the number of Singapore stamps? No, we do not. So we have to find the number of Singapore stamps first before we can find the number of Singapore stamps there are more than the number of Malaysia stamps. Alright, now that we've understood the question, let's move on to solve this word problem. Miko has 265 Singapore and Malaysia stamps altogether. Let's use a rectangle to represent the number of Singapore and Malaysia stamps altogether and label it 265. 92 stamps are Malaysia stamps. Let's divide the rectangle into 2 parts. One part represents the number of Malaysia stamps. Let's label this part 92. The other part represents the number of Singapore stamps. Can you see that the 2 parts make one whole? To find one part, we use the whole to minus the other part. Can you also see that the number of Singapore stamps is equal to 265 minus 92? Great! 265 minus 92 equals 173. How many more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps does Miko have? Now, the question asks to find the number of Singapore stamps that are more than Malaysia stamps. Let's compare the 2 rectangles. There are more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps. Can you also see that the difference is equal to the number of Singapore stamps minus the number of Malaysia stamps? Do you get it? Great! The difference between the diagrams is equal to 173 minus 92 equals 81. Hence, there are 81 more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps. Let's move on to check our answers and ensure they are correct. From the question, we know that there are 81 more Singapore stamps than Malaysia stamps. If we remove this excess number of stamps from the total number, can you see that the number of Singapore stamps is equal to the number of Malaysia stamps? 265 minus 81 equals 184. So, 184 is twice the number of Malaysia stamps. Am I right? Thus, the number of Malaysia stamps is equal to 184 divided by 2 equals 92. This is consistent with the value given in the question. Therefore, we know our answer is correct.
KooBits, engaging the digital kids.